Okay, so you've got two populations, right? So Europe versus America versus somewhere else, Australia, South America. So there are two, you can boil that down to two things, right? There's fear and there's cost. So most people will say, can't afford it. So I used to hear that all the time. So now you've got your bargain basement LASIK in the US, which is, I don't denigrate that, but I don't condone it at the same time, because when I operate on people, because I've operated on my mother, my brother, my sister, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my cousins, I mean, all these people come to me, and I'm not going to do something that I wouldn't do in a family member or wouldn't have done for me. So I've had laser vision correction. I had that back in 2002. So you've got to first try and take somebody that's a little bit either cost aversive or fearful, right? So if I've got somebody that's a little bit older, I got to talk them through, I mean, sorry, why wouldn't you want to do this? Do you want to wear glasses to swim? Do you want to see your toes in the shower? I mean, so we try to make it more along the lines of them. So the first two questions I ask you if you come in and see me are what? What do you do? And what are your hobbies? So do you like to drive a motorcycle, or do you like to, play baseball or golf or tennis or soccer on the weekends or whatever? So I try to encourage them that, we've got to figure out a way that's going to work for you. I mean, what's going to work for you? Why are you wearing glasses? So now if they say, can't afford that, so we try to work through payment plans and those kind of options. So it can boil down to a couple things. Now, the millennials typically have money, but it's not their money. It's their parents' money. And I mentioned this earlier in the conversation. I've had patients who have come in as a patient who decided not to have surgery for fear or cost, and they brought their child in. Okay, so now if they bring their child in, is that, oh, I'm going to throw my child under the bus, so to speak? Well, no, they're saying that I believe in the procedure and I'm going to pay for this child because I created that problem for that child. That is a genetically inherited problem and I can fix it. So when I go back to somebody that doesn't get why should I have LASIK, so there's two things. The millennial is a bit different than the older patient. The older patient, I would say somebody above 30. Okay, so 30 to 40, I'm good, right? Because I've got to figure out how can I take that person and make them understand, when they're 45, 50, we've got other options, whether that's, drops to make them read, or an intracorneal inlay, or some of the other things that are coming down the pike, or, people are talking about, lenses that go in the eye, like an ICL or something of that nature. I think that you've got to find that little feng shui for that person and decide, okay, how am I going to make them decide what they're going to do? Now, millennials, they love to wear glasses. Why do they like to wear glasses? Do you know?
Fashion.
Yeah, so it's a fashion statement. So if I look at you and I say, hey, you can still wear the glasses. You're just going to be able to see your toes in the shower. You're going to be able to surf without your glasses. You're going to be able to play football without your glasses. So I think that, you've got to find something that works. And for us, what works better than me is another patient. So what we're doing now, what I talked to earlier and alluded to, is taking that person and saying, look, don't talk to me. I'm a surgeon. You're going to think I'm trying to sell this to you. I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm going to tell you. Let's go talk to Bob, Ted, or Alice, or Jim, or John, and see if you'd like to do it. And that's what we're doing more and more. Now, I'm older than a lot of people think I am. And so, primarily I started working in 1986 in refractive surgery. So back in 1986, we didn't have, we were just starting out. Marguerite and those guys, T.O. and those guys were getting lasers. So, that's like where we are now. But the success rates are so crazy. It was like, we're talking about John Marshall saying, oh my gosh, the eye's going to probably blow up because it's going to be so thin, you're going to make problems, or you're going to go through Bowman's layer, and Bowman's layer is like this vestigial thing that is there for a reason, and it's evolutionary, and, if we go through that, we're going to create all this scarring. Well, there's still that kind of, fear factor, for lack of a better term. People like say, I'm afraid that, I'm going to go blind. I've done over 75,000 procedures, and I've never blinded. I don't even have an infection after LASIK. It is probably one of the safest procedures to perform, bar none, anything I do. And so if I'd operate on me, I can't operate on me, but I'm saying if I'd have surgery myself or my family members, and that's the way I kind of treat people, that this is expanded to a level that we now have the diagnostics. Okay, so back then we didn't have topography. Think about that. I mean, we invented topography 86, 87 with Kleiss and Rousey and McDonald, and all these people were like doing all this stuff that we're like, well, you know, we didn't know what the rings meant. We were taking computer points and putting them in. So the computer didn't do that. We did that by hand. So it's like an artist painting that stuff in, because we'd make a ring, we'd make a Placido disc, and we would actually plug it in. I mean, you didn't have a Mac computer back then. People can't understand the differences. Like I said earlier, one of my friends used to argue over whether Schick or Gillette made a better blade. That's scary. Well, fast forward, now we've expanded it. So what's better? Well, what's better is the outcomes. So if I can look at somebody who's new to this process, you know, and they've never heard of a LASIK, and I can say to you, I can make you see without glasses. Well, I'm not worried about that. Can you make me see like I see in my glasses or contact lenses? So let's go there. That's the most important thing. Can I replicate what you have naturally? So can you see at night? Can you see during the day? Can you see, you know, when it's sunny? Can you see when it's cloudy? Can you see, you know, when it's, you know, a problem outside, whether that's playing tennis indoors or playing tennis outdoors? And I think that that is what we're doing with LASIK now. So there's good quantity of vision, 20/20ness, 20/12, 28. So now with contour vision, I'm getting people to the level of 28. We only have about 3 or 4, but I can't even read 28. I mean, I literally have to get up off my chair and go read the line, and I've had 3 people like that now. And if we can produce that, so we can take somebody from 20/20 better than what they had, that's great. But a lot of people don't understand that level of vision. So it's kind of like John Marshall was talking tonight. Sometimes it's like it's too good, it's better than what they're used to. So if I can make you see in your glasses what you saw in your glasses or contact lenses, or, you know, it's better vision, quality and quantity. It's a huge difference. And there's no way to simulate that. It's not like I can show you that. You know, it's a different thing when it's on your eye. Okay, so everybody always thinks that LASIK is done. So I don't think we're going to have a procedure that goes away. We're going to have evolutions, okay? So I think it's, you know, like you and me going out and buying a suit, okay? Well, we'll always look good in that black suit. So we know if we go out and buy a black suit, and we stick with black, you know, it's going to be okay. So that's the vanilla, you know, ice cream or whatever you want to say. But, you know, every now and then you kind of stretch it out and you buy something that's a little bit out there. You don't want to go crazy, you know, like your high school picture. You know, you go back and you look at it and like, whoa, what was I doing there? This is what's going to happen with LASIK. It's not going to be this far-fetched change. We're going to make incrementally better what? Safety issues, but on the other side, we're going to make better outcomes. So when I was part of the early LASIK process, and what did the military want out of LASIK? They want to make a super soldier, right? Well, we didn't do that in 1987, 88, 89, because we were doing small optical zones because we didn't have the technology. We have the diagnostics to try and take what we need to measure and then decide what to put in the laser. Well, then we didn't have registration, which was basically, okay, now we can make the diagnostics, now we can measure it. I say, well, how do we do, what happens when the patient's eye goes back and forth underneath the laser? So now we have cyclotorsion, we've got X, Y, and Z, as you guys say. And so basically we can do all of that today. So what we're doing now is making a tree. So think of a tree and it's a decision tree. How can I take my technology today, and whether that's Wavefront-Optimized, which I think is great. I mean, it produces great outcomes, or what we call contour, or TCAT, or what we call topographic modified refraction, or we do wavefront guided treatments. It's different for different folks. And then you got to be able to say no. So in the old days, you know, I don't think we knew how to say no because we didn't know who to say no to. And I'm not saying that we were bad doctors. It's like we didn't know, you know, the stars are out there, but we can't really see them because the telescope's not developed. So we finally developed the diagnostics to say, you know, I don't think that's a good option for you, and I think that we ought to change that into something like a lens procedure or an intraocular lens procedure. And then, don't get me wrong, wrong is a part of being a doctor. So experience, I always say, means you've done it wrong before. And that's not bad. It's not like you go out and purposely kind of, you know, mess something up. You're just trying to do whatever you think you're going to try to make that person see better. And for me, it's like if you treat family, then, and a lot of people don't, you know, if I can look at you and I say, if you're my mother, my brother, my father, my sister, I'm going to do that to you, I'm okay.